President Richard Ngatia with me, the President of the Chamber of Commerce. Good morning, President.
Good morning.
And I have Gabriele Sabato, the CEO of Funding. Good morning, Gabriele. There's myself, Federica Sambiase from Working Capital Resources. Today it is the first webinar of a series that is going to discuss the economic, commercial and financial aspects of the crisis, especially with regard to Kenya. The webinar is divided into three sections delivered by each of the speakers.
Thank you very much, listeners. From the start of the novel coronavirus, this is a COVID-19, the outbreak that began on the 3rd January 2020, and Kenya, the business economic activities have been slowed down, and definitely this has hurt businesses back here in Kenya. As the outbreak continues to unfold, businesses are now finding themselves in uncertain and uncharted territories and pounding on how best to navigate the emerging challenges on one, people, supply chains, business operations, and sustainability, which is the key in business. And in the face of a curfew and recent directive of cessation of movement of persons into and out of the largest county, which is Nairobi, with a GDP contribution of 21.7%, according to the census which was done just the other day. As the chamber has been engaging both the national government, the county government, and within all the 47 counties, and our development partners and the private sector, by proposing both short-term and long-term measures to support both SME and SME, like I mentioned earlier.
What I've done here, I've highlighted three particular industries, three particular sectors: aviation, agriculture, and logistics, because I feel that these three sectors are very relevant for Kenya. All industries will be impacted by the COVID, and there is no sector which is immune by disruption, but some industries will bounce back more rapidly. Aviation, we all know, we all have read about airports shut, airlines grinding flights to a halt, flights cancelled, and of course movement of people means that they're not allowed to travel at all. What does that mean for an exporter? So for a company shipping their goods by plane, and this is the case of many exporters from Kenya exporting fresh produce and flowers. It means that, number one, the cancellation of passenger flights mean less capacity, because much of the fresh produce from Kenya is actually shipped by plane on passenger flights. This is, of course, the negative side. On the positive side, many airlines have converted their passenger flights into cargos to sort of compensate the lack of commercial of passengers. And but on the flip side, their fares have increased because, of course, they are suffering on their side as well. With other industries, for instance, retail, people are now not able to go shopping because shops are, of course, closed, and many people are saving because they're being left out of their jobs because of the confinement.
We actually picture this as almost a black swan with two heads, so a mythological creature. Why two heads? Because we are actually currently facing two types of crises. One is a medical and humanitarian crisis. That's the most important, right? All governments across the world are trying to solve this crisis. But to solve this crisis, we know that we need to limit basically the interaction between people. So restrictions have been put in place to limit that, so-called lockdown. Now, I don't know if that is in place also in Kenya. Definitely it's here in London, where I am, in the UK, in most of Europe, US, And obviously, that is needed to flatten the curve of infection from this deadly virus.
I would be grateful for your view, Richard, about the SMEs. From what you said at the beginning, and from the support that the Chamber is advocating, and from what Gabriele was saying about resilience.
And we have various counties in our country. For example, there's like Ngatia County that has partnered with a local internet provider. Now, with the Chamber, this is also to develop an online trading platform, and of course, this is to facilitate home deliveries. So again, that is very key in terms of what the Chamber is doing with the private sector. Now, for the SME incentives, what we are proposing and how we are supporting the SMEs, and it is important for you to know that we are representing and our members are over 20,000 members and growing, and some of those members we pick them as associations, and within those associations we have about 16 million members, and therefore what we do is to collect them as association, which becomes easier for us to deal with as opposed to dealing with individuals. Now, the incentives that we have proposed and we have worked on is one is the personal loans extension. This is a facility that has been provided by Kenya Bankers Association, and this is to facilitate engagement with SMEs to have their loans extended by financial institutions. The deadline of payment of all trade licenses have been extended also from 31st March to 2020 March. We're also looking at sustainability and proposals also of job protection mechanisms. We are looking at putting in place measures to protect markets within the guidelines that are provided, injecting money. This is directly to vulnerable groups, and of course so that they can have the purchasing power. There's also the focus on non-physical measures, which is assuring markets and promoting alternative markets as well. And then companies can retool their production system to make totally different products as well. There's the local manufacturing companies, which the government has allowed them now to manufacture certain products like PPEs. This is the protective patient equipment. Now, in partnership between the labor and private sector, negotiations between employers and employees, suspension of negotiations on CBAs for the least 12 months. A local carrier, Kenya Airways, is working hand in hand with the private sector, with the Chamber, to provide solutions for agriculture produce that we can be able to export, and working jointly to improve the productivity and technological continent of domestic goods and provide incentives to nurturing innovation. In terms of manufacturing, there is need now to look at what we call assembling. We, in partnership with other companies across the world, they can come to Kenya and we partner with them to assemble products here in Kenya that we can be able to sell not only in our region, but also across our continent. In terms, of course, of small traders, again, we are encouraging them, of course, to be part of making sure that they embrace technology, they embrace digital economy.
Because obviously, as for any crisis, the first thing that happens is a liquidity crisis. So the cash dries up. And obviously, I guess, this right now, it's really drying up fast. I mean, to zero pretty much everywhere. All payments are delayed because all companies are struggling to make payments to employees, to suppliers. I mean, this is true of any crisis. What I think here is particularly difficult is the uncertainty around when the lockdown measure will be lifted.
Tell us that we need to focus on sector strategies such as self-sufficiency, which you've alluded to, local production and import substitution in East Africa going forward.
In terms of local production, yes, it is important for us to now focus on producing products locally. You can see, for example, it has been very difficult to import anything from countries. One is because raw materials are not available in most of the countries, again because of the demand, high demand in most countries, and therefore it is important to urge for local production, and it is important also to sensitize members and also the government to provide incentives so that they can encourage all these local manufacturers and also the SMEs to support them, to support the startups, so that they can also be within the SEZs. These are special economic zones, and that way we can be able to capacity build them, we can be able to support them and prepare them for markets. And again, like I said earlier, we have partnered with financial institutions, and we are preparing the startups, we're preparing SMEs on financial literacy.
Development institutions and multilaterals that doesn't need to be paid back. So there's a need for grants to support exactly situations like yours. And there is a need also for zero interest loans.
Really, I want to thank you, Gabriela, Federica. I want to thank all the listeners on this platform. It's been very informative and very, very useful for us. And as we continue to mitigate and combat COVID-19, let us join hands. Let us see what you in UK, in London, can be able to support Africa, in particular Kenya, in terms of providing us with these medical devices, like I mentioned earlier, the ventilators, any ICU equipment that we may need, beds. Support us, support the private sector, let them buy from you at subsidized prices if possible, so that we can be able to support this program.
I hope that the president, that Richard could be heard properly. Thank you everybody for joining us. It's been a pleasure. And for any questions, any further conversation that you might like to have with us, our email addresses are on the slides. And thank you very much, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.